This the Black Powder Podcast. Kick up your feet, lean on your armrest, and get your mind blessed on this conquest. Hold a grip like a 12 gauge, let this moment kick. Black people moving and having some gun ownership. I carry weight, not to keep the camera safe. It's thinking about you, my kids and my parents' faces. The big topics, they don't wanna involve us. Think we're novice, but now we're moving hard with revolvers. This the Black Powder Podcast, let's get it started.
Primers hit, the powder's lit. It's time to get on target. Welcome to another episode of the Black Powder Podcast. As always, I'm your host, Yosuke Fett. And just a general reminder of your marching orders and why we have created the Black Powder Podcast. The main mission is to change the social view of black society and firearms. How do we do that? Glad you asked. We talk, walk, read, write, and think about it to find a better solution for a brighter future for the proper protection of black people. Join us through education, practice, and safety as we take down the stigma of black people and guns, one discussion at a time. Nobody plans on getting their ass kicked. Just like nobody plans on having to kick ass. It's just
right.
You're in the situation. How do you react to it now?
That man did not wake up that morning saying, "I'm gonna get slapped tonight. What am I gonna do about it?" Nope.
Right.
Nope. So,
and the last thing we as a black society need to remember is that silence is a powerful sentence. And I know there's been a whole push about silence is racism and everything, but when it comes to you as an individual, like let's put it back on Will Smith, for example. And like you said earlier, the man could have been silent. He could have handled it completely different. Or at the very worst case, he could have walked out on his own. Like if the joke was that bad, he could have walked out on his own. Mm-hmm. There's been many situations, I'm pretty sure, maybe in your personal life and in my personal life, to where I could have easily popped off and, started acting like an ignorant fool.
Yeah. But
at the end of the day, I'm just quiet. I do what I got to do. I move on. It's not that important for me to harp on. I've even told my girlfriend in the past because, and she stopped doing it too, but whenever we're in the store, if we have a problem with the store, she used to start complaining in the store. And I told her, I leaned over and I said, if you got a problem, we just talk about it when we leave the store. Because you don't know what'll happen. You start complaining about stuff in the store, all of a sudden, the right employee hears it, and then they start popping off, and then they could potentially get fired because they agree with you and say, yeah, this store and shit anyway, or just anything negative can happen. So that's why I'm always of the mindset of, if we see something crazy happen in the store, we'll just go right back to the car after we get done shopping and we'll talk about it. I refuse to talk about it when I'm still in the premises.
Wow. Okay. A lot of people need to practice that. I've seen some stuff happen in stores. You be like, oh God.
Yeah.
A lot of people need to practice that because I've caught myself in that situation before, and I had to really quickly like, oh, I can't. No, chill. Don't do it. So. Because it really takes some control to be able to, especially if it's something that's affecting you directly. And if you see somebody else doing something, that's one thing. But if it's affecting you directly, it's easy to get caught up in that.
Yeah.
Real easy. You as a customer in a store or something like that, you're paying your money for something, for something, and you want to make sure you're getting what you're paying for. But at the same time, you don't have to make a big scene as well.
Yes, and that's the main thing, because
handle stuff.
Right. I've been caught up in the scene before myself. I think I did an episode on that. I was in Kroger in Union City, and it was the most random thing, man. I don't know what it is about Kroger in Union City, but I'm over there. I was getting my girlfriend a piece of cake. Okay. I get my girlfriend a piece of cake. I go to the self-checkout, which is located closer to the it's on the farther side of the front, and I'm doing the checkout. All of a sudden I hear a large commotion. There's a woman yelling, and everybody's saying, stop her, da, 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 da. You know, that whole thing. Everybody started running to the front. They started running towards the danger. I continue to check out. I pull my phone out. I'm like, yeah, we need the police at the store. Got a situation going on. Beep. Yeah, I don't know what it is exactly, but there's a large commotion. Beep. Just trying to see if we can get some police officers on the way. Beep. This is me on the phone still checking out. And I don't know, man. My mentality is like, if it don't really bother me, I'm not going to get too involved in it. Because as I was walking out, the woman was over there acting a fool. I literally walk around her area, and I'm like, whatever. Wow. I walk outside, the police showed up, they had her handcuffed. And then this is where we also have to realize that there's rules and laws. I remember hearing a show recently where they were talking about how you had to follow the law and the rules, and the person that was being told this logically came back with emotion and said, we didn't make the rules and the laws. Okay, cool, but you know, after years and years of civilizing the untamed land, these rules and laws came out for a reason. So some of them might be stupid, just like some might make sense. Assaulting a person is never good. So you gotta follow that law. But nonetheless, you always got those people that try and stand up for the person that breaks the law, openly breaks the law. This woman was trying to steal something from the Kroger. The Kroger manager stopped her. She threw a fit, ran out the store, started tearing up the store. I think she started trying to use a sign as a weapon. You know, I think the sign said ass whoopings half off or something. I don't know, but she was trying to use the sign as a weapon.
She came prepared.
Right. Got that 2-for-1 special, man.
Came with the sign.
Right. But nonetheless, you know, police out there, police just doing their job, trying to arrest somebody who's breaking a law, rightfully breaking a law, you know. And you had... This is what you gotta. We as a people gotta stop standing up for the wrong people. Cause you had one black guy trying to talk some quote unquote sense to the officer. He rolled up to him and said, "Officer, just for the record, the manager always calling people in this place at this Kroger. They're always calling the police to try and get somebody arrested because they keep saying that somebody's stealing from the Kroger." And then the other person said, "Man, you don't know what the hell you talking about." And then the other dude that was trying to get that woman released said, "Man, you shut the fuck up." Like, it escalated into an argument.
Oh my God.
Silence is a powerful sentence, because if you watched everything that happened in that store, no matter if you agree with it or not, you need to realize that it didn't affect you because you weren't the one causing the issue. Police show up for a reason, they show up for a reason. They ain't showing up for simple niceties or whatever. And I hate the fact that there's always that one person that tries to stand up for the person that did wrong. When you start affecting somebody's wallet, i.e. Kroger's wallet, the store ain't got no time for that. They're going to look at it and say, you know what? We need this person to be taken care of. And if you start popping off at the mouth and acting a fool, and you think you can go in and destroy the store without having to worry about paying for it somehow or some way, that ain't gonna work. We gotta stop standing up for the wrong people. And now that, if this dude knew that, quote unquote, this Kroger was known for calling the police on people because they were, quote unquote, stealing items, why do you still go there? And how do you know that's what they do?
Right.
Literally a Kroger a stone's throw away. You're gonna keep going to the same Kroger knowing that they quote unquote call the police on people to come get them arrested. That don't make a lick of sense to me.
No, just go to another store.
Right. Look, there's a Publix close by. I mean, shoot.
It's just, you know, people. It's just. like you said, people protecting the wrong people. I mean, that we see that a lot also. A lot. You know, people just jumping out there just cause. Or you see it a lot when you start seeing in the comments, well, what happened before the video started? You know?
Exactly. Look, that's always how I look at it, man, because it's kind of like the Jesse Smollett case, right?
Oh God!
Like, what happened before the video started? Because you saw a lot of Chicago people were like, something don't seem right. You can't, and ultimately that's what it boils down to. Even with this Will Smith situation, it's like protect the right people. If you, and it, you know, if you know you're in a toxic, I hate using the word toxic, but damn, if you know you're in a situation with somebody that's a detriment to you, and it's been a detriment to you for over the last couple of years or decades or whatever, you might need to rethink that. And I'm all one for the sanctity of marriage and not giving up on a relationship, but you know, we as black men are usually loyal to a relationship, and I don't care if it's a monogamous relationship or an open relationship or whatever. There's certain rules that go with this, you know. Like what baffles me is that, because this is one reason why Will's jacked up now. But even if it's a open relationship, how do you have cheating in an open relationship?
Right, because somebody broke the rules. They had some rules somebody broke. Somebody
willingly broke the rules.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, hey, I mean, I would think that, you know, the general, and I've never been in an open relationship before, but I would think that the general rules would be, let me know what's going on. Let me know who it's with. Get tested. Don't bring nothing crazy. Don't bring home nothing crazy. Don't get pregnant. Don't bring home the diseases. Something to the effect of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's mainly not just so the other person will know what's going on, but it's also to make sure that that person is protected. Because if I know the last person you were with was like, I don't know, like say I was in an open relationship, my girl was like, I'm gonna go up to Johnny's Pizza and I'm gonna meet Big Mike. Okay, cool. Tell Mike he owes me $5. Have a good day. Be safe. Let me know when you make it. Or something like that, you know? I mean, I'm just saying, there's got to be some sort of order to it instead of just, you know, I'm going to Big Mike's, but I'm also going to Sloppy Sal's after that, and then I'm going to you know, Dirk Diggler or whatever after that.
Look, I can't even imagine being in that type of relationship. That's too stressful.
Yeah.
That's too stressful. That's too much.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds, you know, most guys are like, yeah, I don't want to do that because, you know, I can have me many women I want. But that shit ain't the same when your girl going out doing the same thing.
But you right about that? You absolutely right.
No, it sounds good on your part, but
and it's easier. It's easier for women because with all these apps now, swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, swipe right, they have a higher success rate than men as far as finding a partner.
I mean, I always said women is offering sex all the time, so it's like it's easier for them to get it. We get what we can.
Yeah.
Men get what you can,
right?
You know? We ain't never the one in charge of determining if sex is gonna happen or not. It's always the woman. So, yeah.
100%. Because like, just because you match up with one woman, let's say one day, doesn't mean that she's going through the same ratio. It's like she might have already rejected 100 people before. She's like, yeah, this will do. Meanwhile, you over there trying to get 100 people. You're like, gotta be something. Oh, thank God.
Right. She, like you said, she swiped through 100 people to decide which one, whereas you swiping through 100 people to get one.
Yeah. The ratio is not the same, brother.
Right.
But shoot, I mean, so after this whole discussion, man, I mean, what do you think as far as how if it could potentially affect our image, and in all honesty, what do you think Will needs to do? Your personal opinion.
I see it from both sides still, because, like I said, from Chris' perspective, he didn't do anything wrong, and even how he handled the situation is right. You know, he didn't make it even worse after the situation happened and bring the police and all that involved. Although he had every right to do so if he wanted to. So Chris Rock, I applaud him, and he handled that like a man. Will made a bad decision, and Will may be facing a lot of mental stuff, and I want to say mental as negative. He just got a lot going on, personal and family wise, that he needs to take care of. I don't think that reaction was in the moment reaction. It might have been, you know, I'm finna go do it right now. I don't think it was, I'll put it like this. I don't think it was premeditated. You know, I'm gonna slap Chris and Nike if he say something wrong about Jada. I think it probably was in the moment, but at the same time, you have to know how to control that anger. You got to know how to handle yourself professionally. I thought you did because you're in that environment all the time. And I know celebrities, you know, get a lot of pressure and a lot of stuff going on. But at the same time, as a man, as a black man, you got to know where you are at all times. You got to know that cameras are rolling at all time. You have to know that people are looking up to you or people are looking at you. You're in the spotlight all the time. So you have to handle yourself accordingly. And that did put a negative impression around the world, like, because I didn't think about it like that until you said it earlier. If someone in Japan or other country don't hang around black people all the time, and they're seeing on this live, non-acting, supposed to be show that a black man did that to another black man, and it's recognizable that he wouldn't have did it to anybody else, just puts a negative scar on us. So I think we'll need to take a step back and get out the spotlight for a second and handle some personal business of his own that he's dealing with. I like the fact that he did apologize to Chris Rock eventually. I think two need to sit down and kind of get past this. I hope they will and move on and apologize the right way. And if they want to do it publicly, that's fine. If not, that's fine. But at least sit down, talk about it, apologize sincerely, you know, and move on. Because that is the example that we need the world to see. Yeah, it happened. It was in the moment. It happened. It was a negative thing. But the world also need to see the kind gestures that come out of between the two. You know, what positive can come out of it. You know, yeah, they had a situation, but as two black men, they can't sit down and resolve their issues without making it worse than what it is. And we need a lot more of that in the black community, where we sit down and resolve our issues the right way versus killing each other.
Oh, good, yeah.
So this is what we need to happen from here to kind of help, you know, get some of that tarnish off. But I think that's just my thoughts. They just need to kind of get past it, and that would help. You know, that's kind of a starting point for the rest of us. We got to, and we got to teach our young men too, our younger generation coming up, how to handle situations like that. Talk to them about this, what happened, and teach them that there's different ways to handle your anger than to just go out and take it out on somebody. Whether it's a person you got a problem with, your spouse, your girlfriend, or your kids. Learn how to release your anger in a different way, in a different form of violence, and then violence, you know, because that can escalate to more aggressive violence, shooting someone with a gun or, you know, whatever. You know, it can get worse, and we don't want it to get no worse than what it is. So that's my thoughts.
Right. And good thoughts too. I can definitely agree with the fact that, you know, both of them will have to come to some sort of truce or some sort of terms as far as where they're going to be standing out professionally, because, you know, ironically enough, Chris Rock has worked twice with Jada on kids movies, as a matter of fact, Madagascar 2. Chris may end up working with Will eventually in the future. You never know, but having some sort of celebrity beef that's keeping you from effectively working with other celebrities is detrimental to the money. So if by some way, shape, or form Will is still involved in Hollywood society and just Hollywood movies in general, he's going to have to find a way to get rid of that stigma. And you got a long road ahead of him. The other thing is, I agree, Chris definitely did handle it as a gentleman. I don't know if it was just because how it played out or if it was fear or whatever. Because, I mean, Chris is shorter than Will. His stature isn't as strong, isn't as built up as Will's either. So that's the other thing that made it wrong, because Will was, in a sense, playing the bully role. And that also gives off the stigma of it's okay to bully people shorter than you, which, I mean, it's just so many things to think about as far as how this affected Black society. And we as people in the society are going to have to deal with the backlash of it still. But nonetheless, applaud Chris Rock. He's just doing his job. He did the best he could. He responded well. Will, I'm looking at it like he's gonna have to get rid of Jada and just start from scratch, in my opinion. Focus all his attention, all of his efforts, all of his energy into getting back to the position to where he can respect himself, and then eventually in turn have other people respect him. I don't know what that'll look like as far as if he's got to take time off from show business or movies or whatever else, but yeah, he's got to fix himself, because he was one of the few positive role models we had in Black Hollywood, and to see all of this put at risk for somebody who didn't really respect him like he deserves or like he should have, because respect is earned, is not given. But all the time and effort he probably put in to try and earn that respect, it just wasn't being reciprocated or recognized in general. And the fact that he's going on stage willing to whoop a smaller man's ass in the name of quote unquote love because it'll make you do crazy things, I still say, if I'm even going to put myself in a situation to where I have to fight somebody on behalf of the person that I'm with, then that's got to be an amazing person, and they got to be worth it. They got to be making me look good, and I've got to be making them look good. And at the end of the day, it's about legacy, because if I'm about to fight somebody and, I don't know, I could potentially go to jail, or they could potentially die, or I could potentially die, there's consequences to it. There is no peaceful resolution as far as initiating a fight. All that to basically say that if I'm fighting for that person, I have to be assured in my mind that without a shadow of a doubt that this person has got to be worth fighting for, and I have no question about doing it. But all that to just get to the point and say that Will's got to fix himself. If we are to be judged by society based on, unfortunately, Black society is based on celebrity and media and what's portrayed there. And again, this is something we don't own, but nonetheless, if we are to be based on what that is being shown as, then they got to do better, because there's a consequence. No matter if you don't accept black celebrities or black media or whatever, that's portrayed on commercial TV or commercial radio or whatever, even if you don't accept that in your normal life, it's still being portrayed, and as long as the image looks like you, it still will affect you in the long run. So we as Black men have to learn from this as well. We can't be overly emotional. We can't be willing to jump up in the name of what somebody else's truth is without realizing that the actual logic behind it doesn't make sense.
Right.
So that's what I got to say about that. And that's going to be my final shot. But Ron, good having you here, brother. Great talk. Definitely want to have you back. We let everybody know how to get in contact with you.
Well, you can reach out to me on Facebook, Theron Frazier on Facebook. Actually, Theron Frazier Senior, because my son took my original name. I'm hit specialist actually on Facebook. I mean, not on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm hit specialist on Twitter. Theron Frazier on Instagram. You got a website, www.talkaboutwiththeron.com. That's my website for my podcast. Again, we talk about different things that affect the Black community. We talk about financial stuff, parenting, relationship, health, mental health, all of that stuff. So we got a plethora of things on the website you can go take a look at. We have some blog spots that you can actually go seek some of the help from some of the episodes that I've done. For example, domestic violence. We talked about that. There's resources on domestic violence and all kind of stuff. So just check us out. You know, we're here talk about the Black community. And one thing you talked about earlier, what made you start podcasting. George Floyd's death made me start podcasting, and I wanted to do something for the Black community that can have some type of impact. And my first thought was to run for public office, and I was like, that's going to take too long. I like to talk, so I started doing a podcast, you know, and then talking about different stuff that we can do as a community. My very first episode, where I was just a father-son talk with me and my sons, and I think that episode, man, people talk about it now because it was a open-hearted, honest conversation between me and my teenage boys about different subjects, you know, sex and being a teenager and police brutality and what to expect. The same conversation that most Black men should have with their sons. So come over and check us out. Talk About with Theron. It's www.talkaboutwiththeron.com.
Cool. And yeah, you got to tune in. Dude's got an amazing podcast. And now that I'm on the subject of Black media, I did forget to mention, as far as Black Society and Firearms, we do have the Calibr magazine, which is the official magazine of the National African American Gun Association, or NAAGA. They recently had a Calibr Block Party last Saturday, I believe it was. They had giveaways, prizes. Philip Smith was there. Philip's pretty cool. Philip's cool. And they interviewed the Survival Sisters. I think that was pretty cool. It was really good sit down with them, really educational, and it really inspirational to see four sisters come together after being taught by their father on how to shoot, how to hunt, how to scavenge, how to survive. You know, we need to see more of that positive image in our society, because there's a lot more out there than what the television shows you.
Right.
And I'm still trying to get people signed up for Calibr magazine, because if you hadn't done it, $29.99 a year, but that gives you access to the magazine itself. It gives you access to the community. And if they have any events with giveaways, it also gives you access to that as well. I recently did what was called the Swagger Like Us challenge. The Swagger Like Us challenge, to where you had to submit a picture to Calibr magazine, and it'll get voted on as far as, like, you know, your overall swagger. So I thought it was pretty cool. The end prize was like I think it's worth $1,000. They're supposed to judge, do the final announcement on who won on the 4th. Actually, I think that's Monday. Got beat up by a little girl with a pink AR, man. I mean,
you know, there's some pictures you're gonna get when they're pictures of kids. You might as well hang up. You know, you can't compete with kid pictures, especially when they consider it cute pictures. You're not gonna compete with that.
Yeah, but I mean, this dude, one guy went all out. I think he photoshopped himself on the throne of Wakanda, and he had all this Calibr swag on. He had the hat, he had the shoes. I mean, I think he had the shirt too. He was all Calibred out. He had his 2 firearms and his AR in his lap. And
wow.
Yeah, I'm like, that's badass. But then we all got beat up by, I mean, I'm calling it this early. It's only the 2nd, but I think we all got beat up by a girl with a little pink AR named Slayer. So, you know.
And she had the name to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, kudos to her. I ain't even mad at it, man. You know, like you said, cute pictures can't win. Might as well hang the hat up.
Might as well. That's a wrap.
Right. And on that note, as always, you know, you can find us Black Powder Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you'd like to be featured on the show or just be involved in general, or even if you have a story that you'd like to share, blackpowderpodcast@gmail.com. And as always, this has been another Mag Dump.
This the Black Powder Podcast, let's get explicit. We got the wisdom hitting targets with a marksman precision. We're having fun in the booth, we're running gun for the truth. Every future black gun owner, we're spreading the news. We do illegal, we're moving regal and blessing the people. Some hopes for the culture, we keep it locked like guns in our holster. Holding it down as we're loading the rounds. If they were nervous back then they're gonna be scared of us now. Black Powder Podcast, we'll be back in a while.